Hey everyone, I'm Eddie from Black Powder Therapy, and yesterday I had me a little range day, and I need to clean the guns. Now you may be wondering why I didn't clean the guns at the range, and I'm in my workshop that you've seen before. It's because yesterday was a cold, wet mess, and currently in western North Carolina, we are going to get down to like 20-something tonight, and I'm cold, and I'm wet, and so I'm cleaning it in the garage. So what we have here is actually not the one that I posted the picture about, but it's the same one as one I shot. I have my 1849 Mississippi. It's the gun that I use for competition for the NSSA, which is the North-South Skirmish Association. And I have done a couple different things. Let's start off with you're done shooting at the end of the day, and what's the last thing that you do? And so there's a couple different things that people do while on the range. A couple different cleaning materials, and I will show you what I do in the day. This is just regular old soapy water. I've already done this, so I'm not going to show it on here because it's kind of a wet mess and I got to do it outside. But I take the hammer back, take any type of cotton patching material that you have, anything that you clean patch, put it on the nipple, put it down, and I will fill this thing up completely to the brim. And I let it sit for a few seconds, and it's just regular soapy water. I think it's just water with a few squirts of actually Dawn dish soap. That's probably the bottle it came in. And then I open up the nipple again, or wet down the cock and open it up, hammering out the cock, thinking of the wrong style gun. That one's over there, the flintlock. You pull back the hammer and let this thing go, and just push it out. It's going to be wet and messy. If you get doing it often, you'll see a solid stream come through. If you're not used to it, you're going to have a whole bunch of water come up your face. Now here's the important thing. When you go to pull it out, make sure this thing's pointing away from you and you just pull it out, because all this water and gunk is just going to come flying out with it. And now you pretty much have a completely clean gun. Now it's not like clean where you can put it aside and put it up, but it is clean in the sense that you don't have to worry about like all the foul and stuff being in there. So let's talk about how people clean afterwards. I have a little carpet bag here that I always take with me with everything, and I have a bunch of different options in here that I have loaded in here today to kind of show how different people clean. And the reason I have stuff is because everyone swears by different things. I'm going to show what I do. A lot of people use pure Ballistol to clean. Some people use Gunzilla to clean. I've been having a lot of success with Frog Lube. Now, a lot of people just think of Frog Lube being modern day cleaners, but I have to tell you, I have been really surprised at what it can do with these muzzleloaders. The thing that I have been using the most with, though, is their Frog Lube Extreme. And they have, and I have some patches inside that I use, but essentially you have a system that you use with this, and this does a really good job of getting it nice and clean. Let's actually go through the process. I'll tell you what I do before I leave the range at the end of the day. So we've already shot the water out and we've done that. In fact, let's just, for giggle purposes, let's just do one patch of soapy water now just so that we can see it for giggle purposes. So, the handy dandy soapy water. The reason I'm out here and sit inside is because the wife really doesn't like the fact that this gets so messy. And it does get messy. Came all out. Now we got a wet gun. What do we do now? Well, we take some other patches and we dry the thing out. This is what I do at the end of the, how I clean the gun important. This is what I do at the end of the range day. So I have shot my gun. I've done the last round, and I've went ahead and pulled all the water out. It's time to. So what? Harder when you're sitting down, you know. All right, so you dried it out. I should probably put a couple more patches in, but let's just say we've dried it out. It's very important with these muzzleloaders if you're not going to clean them then, because not everyone does. Like for me yesterday, it was raining. That we take some type of CLP cleaner or something. That's why a lot of people like Ballistol. But I could do this as well. I spray this on a patch, whatever type of non-rusting agent I want. I'm going to soak the inside of this barrel, and then I'm going to do what I did today. I'm going to let this thing soak for probably about 24 hours. Then I'm going to come back and clean it now. The reason for that is it is incredibly important to get all the fouling and all the carcinogen out of this thing that will cause this barrel to rust. So let's just walk it through, because there is a complete process and everyone has their own different process, and I'm going to show you mine. I just use regular cotton patches. These are honestly the same patches that people use in the hospitals. I buy them off Amazon all the time. But you can make your own patches. There is no hard and fast rule of what kind of patch you have to use. As long as it's a patch that you like and it does a good job, use it. So, go and block this down there. So, let's go ahead and just get moving on, and I'll probably do some jump cuts here and there as I go to the next steps, because honestly, you guys don't need to see this thing working for each time. Just be fair warned that there is a process to it, and it can take a second. I don't want to just build all this time up for nothing, so I will see you at the next step. Okay, next step time. You're home, you've done let it soak for the 24 hours that you're going to let it go for. And let's use, I'm going to show, just because it works, I'm going to show frog lube. Again, everyone uses something different. People use a whole bunch of different products. I'm going to use frog lube and show it to you. Now again, this is only for storage things. If I was going to shoot it later, I'm going to shoot it the next day, I'm not going to use frog lube, because their system, while really good, is really made for more long-term storage when it comes to the black powder stuff. Modern day stuff doesn't matter because they're not putting loose powder down. Their stuff is extremely good, but it does come with a price for these old smoke poles, meaning you're going to have to worry about some stuff. So what we're going to do first with this stuff, I'm going to use their super degreaser. Get all nice and wet and clean. So the reason why I might be having to go back and forth is there's obviously a loft above me. My workshop doesn't have a loft all the way around it, but I got a little storage loft on top of me. So when sitting down, it does make it a wee bit annoying, but like I said, it's cold outside. In fact, you're probably hearing my heater going right now, because there's no way I'm doing this without a heater. By the way, this is what that super degreaser does to the inside of this gun. You see this thing? Pulls this stuff right on out. And so if you read the system, you're supposed to just, you apply it generous and you keep scrubbing it to let all the things loose. What I like to do is I like to do one thing of that, one dry patch, and then I'm going to switch to their solvent. It's their actual gun cleaner. That degreaser does a really good job of cutting through all the fouling and stuff that's inside these guns. That's why I've actually been liking it. These frog lube was designed to work with modern day ARs and pistols and stuff, but be surprised how good this stuff works. Again, a lot of people use different things. I'm not going to begrudge anyone for using any system they work. This is just what I personally do. I have found that it's easier to find one system that works and use it for every gun. And so that's kind of what I do. So now I've soaked this patch in their solvent solution. I'm going to keep running it through until it's clean. How what I do is I alternate wet patches and dry patches going down this gun until it comes out to the consistency you want. So I'm going to see it the next step. Eventually you're going to have patches coming out looking like this. So a little bit of dirt on them, not too much. And you can keep going till it's spotless if you really want to. I personally am going to be shooting this gun again in a couple days in a competition. So I don't need it to be completely spotless. I'm going to move on to their last thing, which is called the Extreme CLP Protector. And this does clean while it does it. But essentially, I'm just going to spray some of this down the barrel, and it does come out kind of like a thick lube, And they make it in a couple different things. They come in patches, they come in spray bottles, they have it in this little tube, which is real nice. I personally just had some really good results using the spray bottle. I say that as it's getting clogged up on because of the because it's just been sitting in my truck for a few days. There it goes. The joys of editing. There it goes. Alright. Just do one patch. Again. Right down the barrel. And as you see, it just pulled out a lot more stuff. So I'm going to keep cleaning with these things to get it so it's perfectly clean. That's why I like using that stuff, because you hit it with that stuff and man, it just keeps pulling stuff out. Don't be afraid to switch between this extreme stuff and going back to the cleaner if you're using the actual this. If you're using anything else, just get it till it's getting to the point where you're like, yeah, this is how I use the frog loop system. And may seem like I am pushing the frog loop system. That is because I do like them a lot. They do good stuff, and they do help support what I do, helping me with my cleaners and stuff like that. So full disclosure on that end. But that discussion came after I was already using them. So we have cleaned and lubricated bore. What now? Well, there's a couple different steps you can do. Some people remove the lock. Go ahead and clean that up. Some people pick around the nipple, everything. I'm going to show the cleaning around the nipple section. So you're going to take some of the solvent, spray it all down, and get yourself a nice little brush. My stuck patch brush came out with it. Get yourself a nice little brush and just scrub all this. You can, if you want to, remove the nipple at this point. They make nipple wrenches. You can easily take it apart and take a dental pick or something and clean down inside it. And if I am letting the gun sit for longer than a period of 7 days, I will do that. But because at the end of each main shooting match, I always remove my nipples to inspect them. And while I'm doing this is a nipple wrench you can put right here. Actually, let's go and take it apart. Might as well show everyone how I do this if we're doing everything. So you just take it, your brush. You can get in there with a pick if you want to. My picks actually are inside the house, inside my gun workbench. So we're improvising, but I generally do take a pick and go down inside here and clean it all out. But I always make sure to take one of my patches that has some cleaning solvent on it, come over after I've cleaned everything up, wipe everything down. The main thing when it comes to these old muzzleloaders is that you don't want them to rust. Now, I'll be honest, this barrel on this gun is so old, and this wood on this gun is so old, everything, that like you're gonna be hard pressed to get this gun to rust up because it's so patina. But you can see the wear over the years of gripping it right there and the gripping around the socket. It's worn different, and of course worn right here from all the constant years of explosions or caps going off and stuff. But let's trying to find one that's still got cleaning solution on it. This one feels good enough. So you take it, and always give your nipples a good cleaning with a brush too, preferably without all the stuff on it. And let's talk here for a second about when to change out your nipple. So have to give me a second. I'm going to have to finish this. I'll come back to you in a second to show you. Okay, let's talk about when to replace your nipple. Again, you can get this thing super clean and all polished up if you want to. With me shooting this thing in again a couple days, it's going to get just as dirty. So the bottom of your nipple, obviously you have a little hole in it. And in it, you'll see that when you're looking at it, you need just to see just how burnt out this hole. What I mean is that, is it uniform? Is it crisp? Is it... There's no way to make this sound like without being a 12-year-old boy, but is it perfectly little spherical hole? If you see lines of it like spidering out or looking burnt, it's time to replace your nipple. Because what is the point of that? Like, why does it matter? The point of that is a consistent burn. When you have a nipple that is that's burnt out, you're going to run into issues in the sense that you're going to have inconsistent fire charges going down the channel. It's going to affect your accuracy. So, what next? I've cleaned the nipple. I've cleaned inside the gun. It's always worth noting that I do take a rag, and I usually clean up the stock some too, because like I shoot a lot of muddy areas. But let's talk about the outside of the gun. So this is where I do like Ballistol a lot. Take some Ballistol, mostly because it does this, it foams all up. And then I just wipe the entire section of the gun down. Doesn't matter how dirty it is, I just wiped every piece of metal down on this gun. And I do something that maybe not everyone in the world does, but I like to do it because I like to protect the nipple, but two, I think it gives me always a frame of reference that this gun has been cleaned. I take the patch that I just used it with, put it in the nipple, put the nipple down, and that is how I clean this gun. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you guys, as always. Until next time. Thank you guys, as always. Until next time, keep your shots X's and your powders dry.